An insane week we have coming up for us in DFS right now. We get to watch Jackson Dart play professional football for the entire time. The late slate has all of the good games, 47, 49 and a half, 47 and a half, 48 and a half. If you are sitting at the top of GPPs at the end of the early slate, right as the shipcast begins, boy, do I have news for you. You are in for the next most excruciating 3.5 hours of your life. Jacob, how did week 3 go for you?
Week 3 went frustratingly. I was watching the early slate. It was like the first time that I felt like, all right, this might be the day. I'd played like 2% Hunter Henry stacked up with Drake May in the power sweep. I'm watching Henry, and I brought it back with Metcalf. Metcalf gets the immediate touchdown. Henry gets a touchdown right after he gets the second one. I'm like, this is going to be the one. And I filled it out. I think the only other guys in the early setup with Mason and Josh Jacobs and Packers D. And basically it's like, of course, the 1 week that I spend up for the defense against the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, God.
Every defense goes for like 25 points. So it was just so frustrating. And then Jonathan Taylor, who I did play in a lot of lineups, but not with the right combination of dudes, goes totally crazy, dukes that lineup off the face of the earth. And then I wind up basically late swapping myself right out of the cash line. So, the process, I thought I hit on a few good things. It was like I looked at the winning lineup basically of power sweep afterwards, and every single player was a player that I played in one of my 6 lineups. It was just not in the right combination. So it was one of those weeks.
I mean, I actually feel like we've been pretty spot on it this year in terms of flag plants. Ashton Genty was not a good flag plant for me last week, but we've been pretty tight on the core of all the players, and I have a feeling that we are probably going to like this game a little bit more than the consensus, beginning with the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to play.
It's only 1 week on the slate to me this week, brother.
Correct. So huge team total for the Chargers, as it's basically just the new normal. The Chargers lead the National Football League in pass rate over expectation. After 3 weeks, I saw a semi-viral tweet from ESPN's Fantasy Focus podcast this morning where Daniel Dopp, Field Yates, and Mike Clay all universally agreed that Ladd McConkey right now is the 3rd best Chargers wide receiver in fantasy football. I could not disagree with this more. The Panicans, Jacob, they were so wrong about Amari and Hampton. They were going to be wrong anyway. I want to make this clear. I've seen a little bit of this. Oh, Najee had more rushes. He looked good. They were going to be wrong anyway. They were at the Panicans were going to be wrong anyway. And we get Jackson Dart. I'm very excited for this game of American football.
I think they're going to be wrong in them anyway. Eventually, I don't think they would have been wrong as quickly or to this extent, but I definitely think, the moral arc of the universe bends towards these rookie running backs. And yeah, I think I quote tweeted that ESPN segment with the uncut gems. I disagree. Yeah. Which, yeah, I would like to make it clear that if you had to give me even odds to pick any Chargers wide receiver for the rest of the season in PPR points, I would still pick Ladd McConkey. I would.
Yes.
I see that Run the Sims has capitulated, however. I see that Keenan Allen is like 0.12 away from Ladd McConkey.
Well,
this week in projections.
So to take people behind the machinery here.
Scenes.
So this stuff, what we're looking at right now has not been tweaked a ton by any of the projections guys. A lot of this is taking base rates of things that have happened in terms of like yards per route run and targets per route run this season. Also, people might not know this. Keenan Allen's been a good football player for a long time. So his baselines, it's why his baseline is adjusting much faster than Quentin Johnston's. Like I bet the ETR projection on QJ is maybe even more aggressive than 13.38 DraftKings points because their baselines are just going to work differently. And there's not a huge baseline on Ladd McConkey to work with, right? I mean, just has not played that much football. What I'm more interested in from this game, I think we all agree Ladd is like a pretty good play, particularly if he is like actually going to be 5 to 8% owned. He was 9% owned last week. I played a lot of him. Do you think Mr. Scatatibo is a total jam at 5,500? Because I don't think Jackson Dart is going to be as willing to just check down because Dart is going to scramble. Dart is going to scramble a lot.
Yeah, that's something I wrote about this week. I'm probably not playing Scatterboo, uh, in DFS this week. As much as I'm really excited about him for the rest of the season, the Chargers matchup. I mean, J.K. Dobbins just ran right through them last week, so maybe it's easier than I think. But I would normally think of the Chargers as having quite an adept run defense. And I agree with you. I don't think the Jackson Dart's going to be quite as much of a check down Charlie as Russell Wilson was. I think Scadaboo's always drawn targets. The passing game is going to continue to some degree. But I also just think that the Giants are probably going to get destroyed in this game, quite frankly. I'm like optimistic on Jackson Dart long term. I like him. Am I that excited about him in his first NFL start against what I think is probably a top 5 defense in the NFL? No, right. I think it's going to go poorly. So I'd probably avoid, I think, the Giant side of this game for the most part and play this with the Chargers if I want to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not making this game a super high priority because I think, sadly, the field is now fully caught up to the idea that the Chargers are a really good offense. Like, my guess is Hampton probably does come in around 20, maybe even a little bit higher in single entry stuff. Herbert will be higher than 8%. He got to like 9-10% last week against the Denver Broncos, a defense that everyone knows is good. So there's like no secret left in the Chargers passing game. And in fact, Ladd might even end up being the fake sharp play of the week where he projects the same as Keenan and QJ, but because the people who play in these games hate QJ and hate aged Keenan Allen, Ladd ends up actually being the most owned of the three, despite them all basically
the same projection and the highest price.
Yeah, so he might end up being the mid IQ play of the week. No flag plant for me there. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, total of 43.5. Tampa Bay a home dog without Mike Evans. We don't know right now. We're doing this on Thursday. We don't know if Wirfs and Godwin are going to play right now. The projections have them out. What I am worried about.
In full.
Yeah, so did Xavier Worthy last week. A lot of ways a full practice can go with an injured wide receiver. What I'm worried about if Godwin plays or if he doesn't is that we are approaching so many dudes are out for the Buccaneers that it's like systemic risk where it's just like it's a key third down and you're going to Tez Johnson and it's just like I don't love that situation. I did a video yesterday, Jacob, where I called Bucky Irving like the top buy low, buy high, but just buy in fantasy football. He had 29 touches. 29 opportunities. I actually don't remember how many receptions he had.
25 carries and 4 receptions.
Unreal. That is more than Jonathan Taylor. That's CMC-esque. He did not find pay dirt either the last 2 weeks, which kept him from like giga exploding. But I think as we saw in that Rams game, due to the way the Eagles play on offense, you can kind of put them in a hole if you just keep going at them. They're not going to run away from you. They're really just not efficient enough on offense right now. So Bucky is my favorite play from this game, followed by probably AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley looks like shit. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. He looks awful. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I played some Saquon last week. I thought maybe he would be under the radar. I thought maybe what if it's just 2 games of variance and he's the same old Saquon, and you're getting a chance to play 2024 Saquon at depressed ownership. I'm not writing that off, but I'm moving away from that. Like
3.3 yards per touch.
Yeah, it was. I think Gretsch had the stat in Stealing Signals that he's had under 4.3 yards per carry in all 3 games this year. That's already more games. He had under 4.3 yards per carry all of last year. It's just, he looks a little lethargic this year. I wouldn't say he's running with a piano on his back, but perhaps like a ukulele on his back.
Yeah.
He's running with a mandolin on his back, something of that nature. I definitely think with him, I'll probably wait and see, especially if he is projecting for 13% ownership. I don't feel the need to play into that.
He's not going to get that high, but you're not going to sneak by 5% owned Saquon Barkley.
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen.
I'd need.
Yeah.
What's frustrating about the Eagles, by the way, is like they actually proved last week that
they're good when they throw.
Rolling, right? Like if they actually wanted to play offense, they actually could play offense. They just choose not to play offense, which makes me like more mad. Like it'd be one thing if it was that Hurts just like was completely hopeless and they just have to play this way. But like they scored effortlessly when they tried to play real football. Like just
They're
play real
choosing to
football.
be the Kansas City Chiefs when they could be the Buffalo
Yeah.
Bills.
It's that is exactly correct. It is infuriating. Like they don't have to be this way. I don't want them to be this way, but they seem to want to be this way. Maybe it was a wake-up call, but I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going to play a lot of this game. I agree Bucky is a guy I want to play. It's just the offensive line stuff is so bad. Like I've been watching him pretty closely because his efficiency's obviously been bad. And I've been trying to figure out, like, do I think he looks different or is it just, I don't think he looks different.
No,
like,
he
he's had some sweet plays every single game in the passing game. Whenever he gets into space, just every time he gets the handoff, there's 3 dudes right in the backfield. Watch that 25-yard catch he had last week. If anyone's concerned about his efficiency in terms of, like, is he still a good player? He still rocks. It's just a tough environment. So I don't know how you get to like the 100-yard bonus. You got to hope for a couple of touchdowns. I don't know. This might be an avoid game for me because I think the Eagles win this easily, and I don't trust the Eagles to get fantasy points in games they win easily.
If Godwin does not play Cotton,
he had 0 targets last week.
He had 0 targets the week before as well, I believe.
So he hasn't had a target since like the Biden administration.
Yeah, it's I mean, this is the thing that is like kind of always happened with him is people get excited and they're wrong to be excited about
last year
Mr. Otten.
Last year, like I mean, he's never earned targets in a million years when everybody's healthy. But last week, Godwin was out. Ibuka was playing only like 2/3 of the routes. Evans left early. Like you would think that would be when he would earn targets. He still didn't. So I don't know.
Literally everyone has to be out. Like Ibuka would have to, like everyone has to be out, and then it can happen. All right, a game that we basically can go by, I think, in about 37 seconds here. The Houston Texans are playing at home to the Tennessee Titans. This is a 38.5 point total. The Houston Texans are 7-point favorites at home. CJ Stroud is unplayable. I don't even think Nico is playable at this price. I also don't think Tony Pollard is necessary when you have guys like Amari and Hampton and Scadaboo to play in this slate. Chubb is unplayable. Kirk did see 9 targets last week. They were as inefficient as you would think. Ridley, same deal. Io Manor, I mean, I guess you could go touchdown seeking for one more week, but this game, I mean, the defenses are good in this game, I guess.
The Tony Pollard projection kills me every week. Like
he did score a touchdown last week.
Guys.
He did score a touchdown last week and gave up. Like I believe Julius Chestnut though has the longest.
Did he even get to 15 with the touchdown? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Julius Chestnut has the longest rush of any Titans player this year.
Let's just like it's couldn't be more enough already with the Tony Pollard 15-point projections. Next game.
Yeah, it's just really.
I guess like Nico will be in my player pool. I don't think he'll make one of my lineups, but I wouldn't rule it out.
He's more expensive than Malik Neighbors. What's the point? This projected ownership is wrong for whatever it's worth. Nico Collins will not be 15% owned.
No chance.
So do with that whatever you will. All right, a game I'm actually more interested in, and I think you might be as well. The Cleveland Browns playing at the Detroit Lions, 10-point home favorites for Lions. 2 reasons to be really into this game. The first being quality of defensive opponent. I don't think matters for the Lions when they're at home. Definitely matters when they're on the road. And I do think the Browns defense is very good. The second being Quinshon Judkins is just our generation's Nick Chubb. They are like building the entire plane out of giving him opportunities to break long runs. St. Brown at 7,300 looks awesome. Gibbs, this Gibbs roll. Everyone's mad because David Montgomery had such a good game last week, but Gibbs had 2 touchdowns in that game.
Gibbs had 26 himself.
Yeah. So it's the same as it ever was. The other thing about playing Lions players that we've discussed in this is there's no calling the dogs off. They're trying to get another. They scored 52 2 weeks ago at home.
Yeah. People are so obsessed with like share of fantasy points and like with the tilt of being vultured. They would rather play someone who scores 21, whose
They'd rather
teammate
play
scores
Tony
2.
Pollard.
They would rather play Tony Pollard, who might score 18 while Julius Chestnut scores 0.8, than Jahmyr Gibbs scoring 26 while David Montgomery scores 28. It's like you still get the points. Actually, it doesn't actually, it's not like you get relative points to your teammates. You just get the actual raw points. I'll also note with Cleveland, last year their defense just wasn't very good, but 2 years ago when their defense was elite, they still had massive home road splits. They were like the 85 Bears when they were playing by the lake, and they were just like kind of a neutral top 10 to 15, top 10 to 12 defense when they were playing on the road. So I don't fear the Browns defense in Detroit this week at all. I'll be playing Detroit aggressively this week. So that includes Gibbs for sure. He's like always going to be my favorite way to play Detroit. He's getting consistently over 60% of the snaps, over 60% of the routes this year. It's an incredible role. But I would also be, and it looks like it will not be very owned, very happy to do Jared Goff doubles. And you just got to hope that you pick the right 2 of the other 4 skill players is really the deal with the Jared Goff doubles. I was on that 2 weeks ago. I picked the wrong combination. Maybe we'll get the right combination this week. So probably probably going to not Galaxy Brain at this time. I'm probably going to include Amon-Ra St. Brown in my Goff doubles. And then it's just
I would include him in everyone. There's no world where JMO and Laporta are getting it done. There's not enough volume.
So it's just which of the other 2 do I pick? And is it JMO or is it Laporta? Depending on how many lineups, I'll probably play one of each.
JMO obviously more likely.
What's the status of JMO Nation? Are you excited for me to vote to bench him for Quentin Johnston in our main event team this week? I've never been more excited for anything in my life.
I'd have to really think about that. When the state of JMO Nation is, we knew the deal we were making, which is that.
Well, I don't think you did. I don't think that you did. I think you're retconning the deal you were making. The deal you were selling was they're going to build the whole plane out of him, and it's going to be different this year.
No, it wasn't going to be the whole plane. No,
that was the plane that was being sold. And now there's a new plane. There's a new plane that is, actually, it's fine that he has 8 catches in 3 games, and it's actually good.
The JMO thing was I thought it was more likely than the market that he did see an increased volume role, but there was some built-in safety by selecting him in best ball contests, by knowing that he can still have these insane games on limited volume. Do I wish I would have went a little less hard on JMO and managed? Right now, that is my current position, but I retain the ability.
So do I. I wish that I wish that there were less instances in which 3 people voted to put Jameson Williams on my managed teams.
Yeah. I do really like Quinshon Judkins because I think he's just going to be absolutely microscopic owned, and I think they're going to try and run him a lot. What's the state of Harold Plannon Nation? He did only run 51% of the routes last week, but I think that was because the game was close. I don't think that is going to be the plan when you have these 47 drop back Flacco games.
Well, that's concerning. They seem to be scaling up Isaiah Bond, right? So they part of it is that early in the season, it seemed like they didn't have any slot wide receiver that they cared about, and so maybe they would just use Fannin as a full-time slot receiver. They seem to be trying to do the Isaiah Bond thing. He hasn't really done anything yet. He had 60% of routes last week, more than Fannin. He only had 4 targets, 2 catches, 16 yards. So maybe it swings back the other way, but it seems like they are exploring the possibilities of 11 personnel, which just naturally is going to reduce Fannin's workload because Njoku's still playing a majority, not all, but a majority of the 11 personnel snaps. I think he's totally in play. He's still involved in the offense, but we're not quite as excited as we were post week 1. We would like another big game, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Good underrated game for fantasy football, I think. There are. We have the Carolina Panthers traveling to play at New England. Does sound like Christian Gonzalez is going to be active and playing in this game. So for whatever that's worth, with your Teteroy McMillan exposure in daily fantasy sports this week, Drake May, almost a nuclear game last week, very close. Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson said,
"Don't I fucking know it?"
Yeah,
That's
you
the
will
person
not
who
be going
played Drake
nuclear.
May in all my major lineups last week.
Yeah. Now Hunter Henry is going to be like way overowned this week. He's obviously not going to score 2 touchdowns most weeks. What's the state of the union from the Diggs Bros? Have they already waved the white flag? Like, is it just not happening? Yeah. And Trevion Henderson. This is the week. This is your last week to get Trevion Henderson, at a reasonable salary and at a reasonable ownership because he is going to be
Oh,
the
is that?
primary back. I think it is. I think it is.
I fucking hope so, man. I hope so. I'm interested to see what his projected ownership is on Sunday morning
It'll
because
be higher than this, but
I
not by
think he's
much.
gonna catch some steam. Like, I'll put it this way: I think Henderson is going to be a better pick in like the Millie than he is in like the Spy.
Oh,
Like if you're playing,
yes.
if you're playing in contests with all the slappy seals, which is like we reside in the Spy almost
Mm-hmm.
exclusively. That's the slappy
They might
contest
they need to change the name from the
to
Spy
the
to the
slappy.
Seal. Yeah, to the
The
Seal or
seal.
something. Yeah.
The seal, yeah. So, like, if you're in a contest in which you expect to be surrounded by listeners of this program, I would probably steer clear of Trevion Henderson. I'm guessing that his
The amount
ownership
of
is going to
weekly
be inflated.
listeners the amount of weekly listeners to this program, it vacillates between 4,500 and 5,500 views is like almost the exact sizing of the Spy, which is
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah. If you like, basically, that's like anyone who consumes slap based content is going to be way more liable to play Trevion Henderson. You want to be playing Trevion Henderson in contests with boomers, with spreadsheet bros, with all that stuff. The people that are formulating this 1% sort of immediate ownership projection. I would love to be all in on a sub 5 Trevion. I think there's some fear that he winds up getting way too steamed, but I'm hopeful. So I'm just kind of filing that one away as like a maybe gold star play, pending how things shape out in the content markets for the rest of the week. I am pretty into May again. I would potentially run that back. The frustrating thing is that I felt like Henry was just getting really underrated because he hadn't done anything the first 2 weeks, but he was still running like 90% of the routes. And now he's actually going to get ownership and he got a salary increase as well. So I don't know how much I can go back to that well. And I don't think that you can really stack me with any of his wide receivers right now. Diggs is playing half the routes. I don't really know why. All of the rest of them totally suck. So
Yes, that is accurate. I wanted to play Tet this week because the Patriots' pass defense has been poor, but I don't think it's a particularly good idea with Gonzalez back because if for
yeah,
nothing else, not that Tet can't beat Gonzalez one-on-one, but what happens a lot of the times, teams running bad, they're tight. The coach is coming into this game saying, all right, well, we're going to put Tet on an island and we're going to build it all out of like Tommy Tremble screens. I've seen this happen so many times on bad teams where they don't let their good players go and get wins. So I'm not like Ted is like fine, obviously, but I am not loving him as like actual chalk. All right. A game that you do actually have to make some real decisions on. The New Orleans Saints are playing at the Buffalo Bills, 15.5-point favorites. Obviously, all the Bills players carry these ridiculous projections. But man, first off, other than James Cook getting his touchdown at whatever point, like it could be any of them. Josh could go nuclear or he could get, what did he have? He had 11 points in week 2 in their huge win. Like the Bills are fully in. We do not care about our statistics mode. We got Josh Allen as MVP. Like they would be happy to win this game 24-3 and just like totally get it. But they have this huge team total.
but they
I
won't.
don't Yeah,
They will win it by a lot more than that because the Saints are happy to lose this game 49-3.
right.
What do you think James Cook's actual ownership is going to be on Sunday? It's not going to be 8.
27%.
Yeah,
Really
that would
high.
be
Really
like
high.
I don't know where this 8 is coming from. That's not happening.
I honestly, I don't know because the ownership projections change a lot
Yeah,
after Friday. But I am
right.
not privy. I can access
Because
the back end for the fantasy points, but I have no control over the rest of
it. Anything under 20, I would just jam him in 100% of my lineups. But 27 is rough. His role has just been way better than it's ever been, and he looks like one of the best running backs in the NFL.
I actually don't know. I'm gonna push back on that. I actually don't think his role is markedly all that different. He just running.
It is. He has 18 carries a game. He had 13 last year. He plays over 60% of the snaps. He was playing in the low 40s last year over the second half of the year. It's a huge change.
All right, I'm fact checking myself right now. Utilization rate 2025, 57% of the snaps, 65% of the rush attempts. 2024, 48, 52. So it's better, but it's like marginally better. And also we haven't seen the Josh Allen rushing touchdown stuff rear its head yet. I'm apt to be a little bit more conservative about James Cook, mostly just because I have Chesley-Liam derangement syndrome. That's really all it is.
Yeah, whereas I share a main event team with Chesley-Liam in which we have James Cook, so I get to finger wag the cabal as well for being too low on James Cook, even though Liam will simultaneously root for James Cook together with us, which we took without argument, but then while also looking up our BBMD James Cook exposures to bully us in the group chat at the same time. So it's all about building team bonding.
ETR, by the way, has Cook at closer to 4. They have him at 14%. So still pretty low.
I'm
lower
jamming,
than you think.
fucking jamming. Yeah, I'm jamming all that. I will continue to go back to the by Leone model on Chris Olave. He's averaging 12 targets a game this year. I don't think we've gotten 15 points for that yet. Maybe he hit 15 last week. It's been right in that range. So I think I'll do some Cook and some Olave. This one, I don't know if I'll actually play, but it's worth noting. The Bills just historically give up a lot of receptions to running backs in the Sean McDermott era. I don't think anyone's going to really play Alvin Kamara at all.
Well, Kellen won't throw to him.
Worth a shot. Yeah. It's been way lower. But he did have 6 targets in week 2. And I do think there's something to the Bills matchup here that I like for him. I just don't know if I'm actually going to get there, but we'll see what his ownership looks like on Sunday. If it's like sub 5, I'm interested.
Yes.
I'm also obviously interested in Juwan Johnson.
What about Kincaid?
Yeah, I think no for me. Like he's been like 50% routes and running really hot. I think he's going to get over-owned relative to his role.
24% targets per. Oh, that was last year. 24% targets per route run last year. 23% this year.
So it's been basically the same role. He has the same route rate. He has the same targets per route run. It's just he's been scoring touchdowns. And,
he just doesn't play enough. All right, we have the Washington Commanders.
He plays enough that he's certainly playable. I just think he's been running really hot on touchdowns and catch rate. I expect him to be over-owned relative to his role. I think people think his role is way better this year. It's the same. He's just performing better within it, which matters. But I'm probably not chasing it.
Yeah. Okay. We have the Washington Commanders and the Atlanta Falcons. This one is in the Dome in Atlanta, expecting Jaden Daniels to play, not expecting Terry McLaurin to play. Kyle Pitts maintains this insanely high route run. I think we have arrived at a Deebo Samuel week. I think that this is like an all-time kind of buy spot on Drake London and frankly even Penix too. What's weird is the peripheral numbers for the Falcons.
You wanted to drop Darnell Mooney off the main event team after he out-targeted Drake London easily, but now you want to play Drake London?
I am a man of contradictions. You trying to keep me in a tight path of logical consistency is an error.
You wanted to drop Darnell Mooney off a 9-target game was incredible content. It was
hey, to be fair to me, it was for Jalen Lane though. Old man Darnell Mooney and shiny new rookie Jalen Lane.
Isn't he like 27?
Yeah, but Jalen Lane could be anything, even an
That's
11
true.
points per
Even
game
Darnell
wide
Mooney.
receiver like Darnell Mooney. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
reminded me of my main team with Gretsch. I was like, I was like, yeah, I think the only player on our team I'd write off at this point is Evan Ingram. And he was like, that seems like just that you never wanted this player anyway. And I was like, yeah, he hasn't done anything. He was like, he didn't play week 3. I was like, oh, he didn't? I was not aware of that.
Well, he got injured. He got injured. I mean, Evan Ingram
yes.
Ingram is totally dead anyway. But yes, it is
Don't tell Gretch.
it is the exact same
Yeah.
thing. I don't know. I mean, obviously Bijan is a phenomenal play. I think Debo looks like, assuming Jaden is back. I mean, this might be kind of like an all-time Debo.
Well,
Like we could see like 12 touches.
what do you make
from
of the
him here.
routes on Debo? Didn't you run like half the routes last week? What was up with that?
I mean, I assume it was just that game was in absolutely no threat at all. They like,
But
the Commanders just did whatever they wanted.
But not that quickly. Like his route rate was jarring last week.
79% on the season. 79% on the season. Last week, yeah, he did only run 48% of the routes. Honestly, I just hadn't given it a second thought because I assumed it was because it was like a market. Weird stuff was happening in that game too. Like Zach Ertz barely played. Ben Sinnott, I believe, played his career high in snaps last week.
Ertz's snap rate was down, but his routes were fine.
Yeah. I would be like, if their plan on offense is to run Jalen Lane and Chris Moore, because Noah Brown is banged up too. So no McLaurin, no Noah Brown. I would be stunned to see less than a 70% route rate for Debo here. But maybe I need to look more into it. I really couldn't say. Terry McLaurin going to be out for like
I'm not
multiple
sure.
weeks.
I was hoping that you would know what was going on as the Debo correspondent in this program, but I guess we continue to be blind on this matter. I definitely think if we think that Debo's routes are going to go back up, which is probably going to happen. He did it in week 1 and week 2, and McLaurin's going to be out. Then I do think he's an interesting buy spot. Can you pan back to the salaries? How cheap are we on like the Jalen Lane, Luke McCaffrey stuff? I'm assuming like $3K, right?
Yes. All the way down here. Jalen Lane is 3,300. LMC is 3,400. Yeah. Chris Moore is 3,000. Yeah. So I
would take a stab. I would take a stab at Jalen Lane at 3,300. I'll also probably play Zach Ertz at 4,100 is a little expensive, but I think volume could consolidate on him. I don't know how to feel about the Atlanta stuff. Michael Penix, it looks really ugly. Bijan obviously is a totally fine play. I think London at 5,700, I'm going to be ownership sensitive. Like if people are out on London and the Falcons experience, I'll take a stab. If this is like the entire community doing it's buy low on London week because he's so cheap and he comes in like 20% owned, he's just generally not the type of player I like to play at high ownership because he does not accumulate points explosively. So it's just so easy for him to even have a really good week, but that week still turns into like 11 targets, 7 catches, 80 yards. And it's like, oh, I actually was totally fine not having him. So I'll be ownership sensitive on London.
I think that is totally fair. By the way, I just did a quick search, and this little blurb here on The Athletic is all about really what happened last week is Cliff just gal-brained himself, and it didn't matter because they were up by so much the entire game. But it's like, oh, they ran 13 personnel. Cliff played a 6th offensive lineman for a bunch of snaps. So to me, that sounds just like classic Cliff mess. And Debo, they don't want Debo, I am sure, doing that much run blocking at his age. Like they probably would rather throw Chris Moore out there to run block. All right, we have got the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the beginning of that afternoon window. Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to play at San Francisco. 49ers favored by 3. My read is that we are maybe semi-likely, like more likely than not, to get Brock Purdy back. Brian Thomas Jr., I don't know what to do there. Christian McCaffrey continues to not look particularly good or spry, but score 24 fantasy points per week. Ricky Pearsall missed practice on Wednesday, but has this like awesome profile where his targets per route run is good while his ADOT remains high. There's like no one else to take targets from him. I think this game is quite sneaky, but I can't figure out the right guys to play in this game.
Yeah, I think it could be potentially fun. I am going to be probably most into Parker Washington, depending on how ridiculous his
Oh,
ownership gets. I'm not going to play an owned Parker Washington, but I'd love to play a not owned Parker Washington. He's going to play 100% of the routes this week, I think. They confirmed that they're going to keep Hunter in the F role. They said that they're going to play Washington in the Z role. So basically, what I expect their rotation will be is that Brian Thomas, every snap player, Parker Washington, every snap player, in the roughly 70 to 75% of F wide receiver snaps that Hunter plays, Washington will play Z. And in any other F wide receiver snaps that Hunter doesn't play, Washington will play F and Tim Patrick will play Z. And then Washington will also probably play the majority of the 2 wide receiver sets. So, yeah, I'm going to be in on P Wash. I think that Brian Thomas Jr. Can't play football right now, and it's going to take a little bit of a while for them to build a plane out of him. Hunter's obviously not making as much of an impact as I hoped he would. So yeah, give me some P Wash. I'll probably play one Hunter team because I'm a total sucker. I don't know if I have the stomach.
I was
Brian
literally
Thomas team,
thinking the same
maybe.
thing as you were making the case. I was like, yeah, but come on, man, Travis Hunter probably pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see. The Washington thing is kind of contingent on De'Ami Brown not playing. If he's, I guess, listed in right now by Run the Stims, if he does play, then I kind of take that back. And I also wouldn't be as into playing Hunter if De'Ami plays. So it would be Strange is in play, and then obviously Christian McCaffrey is always in play every single week. And I see you guys have Jawan projected out and Pearsall projected in. We'll see if that's how it goes. Really hard to know what to make of San Francisco because we have no idea really who's going to play. But I think Pearsall is a really good play in that scenario. If Jennings does play, I prefer playing Jennings, and I will play Jennings.
Do you know who leads the Jacksonville Jaguars in receiving fantasy points?
Probably De'Ami Brown.
That's strange.
Oh, is it Brenton Strange? That's strange.
PPR. You get a full point.
Brenton is strange.
I mean,
when
I think
you're a stranger.
If you wanted to do the overstacking thing in the Slappy contest, I think you could do Purdy, Pearsall, Jennings with the Brenton Strange bring back. Obviously, and the other thing you can always do is you can always do McCaffrey and Purdy together.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally happy to play Christian McCaffrey and to continue doing it. We are now at a point where I'm like, he's getting to a salary now where the fact that he actively looks bad becomes a limiting thing. Like when he was 7,700, it mattered less. You could just be like, all right, well, he starts with 13 points for 10 catches for 30 yards, and everything on top of that is a bonus. But now you kind of need, okay, well, it's like, I'd really like him to be able to theoretically get the 100-yard bonus. I'd really like him to be able to score a rushing touchdown. That might be
because we're playing Christian McCaffrey as Mike Davis as Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, he has 0 rushing touchdowns. He's not recorded. He's not recorded a rushing touchdown. I mean, look, far be it from me to do this, but like ETN is going to keep getting a decent amount of work. Obviously, like for your season-long fantasy football team, he's totally dead. He's not playing third down. He's not playing long down and distance. He's losing.
I would say he's totally dead. You can start him like this week.
Yeah, you can start him, but he has pressure on both of his high value.
For sure. Yeah. I think he's a sell high for sure. He's a sell high.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm saying, like, while he remains in this sell high window before the role has totally evaporated, no one, like, speaking of guys that no one plays in this Lappy contest, everyone hates Travis Etienne Jr. And the 49ers are like super banged up on defense. So you can certainly play Travis Etienne Jr. this week. This is my favorite game of the week. Indiana Jones
for slightly different reasons.
And the Indianapolis Colts. Highest total of the main slate, 49.5 in SoFi Stadium. I can't believe it. Man. Of all players to have evoked this emotion from Jacob Sanderson. 49.5 point total. Rams 3.5 point favorites. Puka Nacua. It's now 2 weeks ago saying that Puka should be the number 1 overall pick in fantasy was the right curve.
He's my new wide receiver 1 in Dynasty.
Yeah, now it's mid curve. Obviously Jonathan Taylor, insanely good play. What I found interesting early in the week is that no one actually wants to play Indiana Jones. He is at the quarterback 10 in the
Oh,
drafts on
well,
Underdog. No
one
one
person
no
who
one wants
does.
to play him. I'm with you, Jacob. I am totally riding with you on this experience. I think Daniel Jones and Pittman, Daniel Jones and Warren, you're getting like mega leverage on Jonathan Taylor, who has been this is your coworker Hayden Winks' stat. He's been the running back 1-4 of the last 6 games he's played. Huge leverage there. Of course, you can bring it back with Puka Nacua. The unfortunate, the inconvenient truth of Kyron Williams continues unabated. He will simply get between 16 and 22 fantasy points per game, other than the 3 games a year where he doesn't. Break it down, man. How are you playing this game?
So the first thing I'll note is that I do think the Colts have some injuries that are notable. The biggest one is Kenny Moore, who is a player that would be pretty useful for covering an sort of intermediate area demon in Puka Nacua. So I don't know really what they're going to do with that. My guess is that Charvarius Ward is going to shadow Adams on the outside, and they're just going to get roasted alive by Puka repeatedly from the inside. Then they also are out Matt Gonsalves, likely out. He has a boot on his foot, who's been their right guard, who's taken over for Will Fries and been awesome. So I do think there's potential systemic risk to the Colts offensive line because that was kind of one of the biggest question marks coming into the season, and he's answered the bell, and they're going to have to play Dalton Tucker, who's not very good. So that room for pessimism aside, I still think their offense is going to have success, and I think that the Rams' offense is going to have a lot of success on a Kenny Moore-less Colts defense. So I will be playing Puka in probably just every single lineup this week, legitimately. And then what to make of coming back? I think you could definitely go Taylor. I mean, his role is unbelievable. But I'm probably going to play the Colts to lose this game, to be honest. Objectivity here. And I'm going to play Daniel Jones, have to air it out a little bit. And I think you just picked 2. It's a little hard to pick. Downs is just getting not enough routes to be really valuable. I see you guys have Alec Pierce projected in. I think that will ultimately be incorrect. I think Pierce is probably going to miss.
They just told me that it's easier just to leave all Q tag guys in,
right?
Because it messes with it.
Yeah.
If you start making decisions on it, then you have to make decisions on everyone, and it messes with the
That makes sense.
projections.
Yeah, I'm certainly not insulting the process, but I just in this particular case, like what percentage of players come back from concussion without missing a game? Like it's like 10% at most.
It's only if you play quarterback.
Yeah, so I'm counting Pierce as out, and I think people might play Downs because they might think he's going to get an increase in routes with Pierce out. To me, that is like the hand on the shoulders meme. I think he's going to keep playing in 11 personnel only. So I'm probably my favorite way to play it will be Jones, one of Warren or Pittman, or you could do both, or Adonai Mitchell is going to be a guy that's going to be in a lot of my lineups this week.
Adonai Mitchell, that the same.
I think he's going to run like 85% of the routes. He's going to run like 85% of the routes. He's going to run more routes than Josh Downs this week if Alec Pierce misses. I feel confident about that.
Oh, man. I mean, first off, don't tempt my best ball teams with a good time. What is Adonai Mitchell's salary here?
I bet it's 3K.
Adonai Mitchell is 3,100.
Yeah.
Obviously, the only other issue that I would say with that is what do we think the jumbo personnel, like how much 12 do we think the team is going to run? How much?
But that doesn't matter. Adonai is going to play in 12. When Pierce missed last year, Downs played 0 snaps in 12 personnel. They don't view him as that. He's like the Jaden Reed of Indianapolis. So if Pierce is out, I don't think it affects Downs' role at all. Pittman's going to play his role anyway. I think Mitchell just goes right into the Pierce role. Maybe he misses like a few snaps where Downs gets an occasional 12 snap, or they use Ashton Dulin or something goofy. But I think Mitchell runs 80% of the routes this week, and the vast majority of the 12 personnel routes ahead of Josh Downs. So that'd be where I would lean. You can take that or leave it, but I'll be doing Jones, Warren, Mitchell, and Puka is my favorite game stack of this one.
Yep. Completely agree. Matt Stafford, sadly, just like, I don't know. He did. I guess he did have a 4-touchdown game last year. He just never
Yeah,
scores.
you could play Stafford if you want, but I'd probably
I
rather
don't.
play
I don't
Aaron
think so. I
Jones.
think any lineup where Stafford makes sense. I think I would just play Daniel Jones instead, and maybe that's wrong, but that is how I feel about it. All right.
Well, plus the issue with Stafford is like you're not really it's like Stafford might not be owned, but like you're playing his 2 mega owned wide receivers, I assume, if you're playing a Stafford lineup. So it's like, what are you
Right.
really gaining on anybody?
Yes. All right. Potential game of the week for fantasy football here. We have the Chicago Bears traveling to play in the Dome in Las Vegas against the Raiders. 47.5-point total. Raiders, very small favorite. Relatively big news. Brock Bowers got a full, no limited practice in on Wednesday for the first time since injuring his knee.
Nice. Are they going to remove the brace this week?
That was not clear. What Pete Carroll said on Wednesday was like, he was like, "You guys have eyes. You know that Brock hasn't been himself, but he's feeling better. He got a full practice in." I unclear on that. In terms of the Bears, I would like to say that this is the week that Luther Burden gets fully unleashed. I don't think it's going to be. One, Colston Loveland is banged up, and I think they want to bring those guys on together. That's my sense of what Ben Johnson wants to do. He wants to slowly take away Zacchaeus and Komet at the same time as bringing Loveland and Burden on together. The other being they have a week 5 bye, which is just the classic, like you get Burden in week 6. I've secured a great image of myself from about 5:55 p.m. On Sunday as Dylan Laube is just easily playing second down drills again. The football being pulled away from myself as Ashton Genty records 9.6 DraftKings fantasy football points yet again. They've made Genty even cheaper, 6,200 against the Bears. And also, I will also say this again. I mean, DJ Moore. You look up a picture of leverage in the dictionary, and you find DJ Moore and Caleb Williams hugging each other on the bench. How are you playing this game, Jacob?
It's a fun spot because everybody was on Chicago last week against the Cowboys. Naturally, they hit. And then this week, you get to basically decide, like, do you think that was just a sporadic offense having a spike week against a team that everybody pulverizes, or is it actually the start of something new and meaningful? I think I'm going to guess where you stand on that. And I'm a little bit to your side of things. Even as a Bears skeptic, I've been pretty impressed with Caleb Williams for the most part. Like, I thought he got too harsh of a rep after his first 2 weeks. Everybody plays bad against
He didn't even play that bad. People just do not like Caleb Williams.
He played, I think he played more bad than good in week 1, but not hopeless. And like, everybody struggles against the Vikings defense, so I don't hold that too harshly against him. And I thought he played way better than advertised in week 2 against the Lions. Just their defense gave up 52 dang points, and DeAndre Swift fumbled, and all of a sudden they were out of the game immediately. But like, I thought he actually played pretty well. And then obviously played just great last week. So I'm pretty interested here. I'm going to track the Adunze ownership closely. We'll see how crazy it gets. There's like definitely a limit to how owned I will play Rome Odunze, but I want to play him. I also want to play Caleb.
I mean, he was 49% owned in the SPY last weekend.
That was at 5,300, and that was against Dallas. He's 1,000 more expensive. The matchup is less like absurd this week. So we'll see. Like, I would be like, if he like, I'm kind of ignoring this 8%. That's not happening. If he were,
no chance.
If he's like under 15, I'd want to be overweight. If he's like 15 to 20, I'd want to be at least with the field. Over 20, I probably unfortunately have to be underweight.
He's gonna be over 20.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one for me at over 20. I might have to sit that one out. And if I have to sit that out, then I do still want to play Caleb. I will probably play my least favorite player in the NFL, DJ Moore. Like, DFS is my hedge book all the time. I'm always playing guys that I don't like.
It's the right way. It's the right way to treat it. You don't get paid for being stubborn in DFS.
Yeah, so I'll play some DJ Caleb stuff this week for sure. We'll see if Loveland plays. If he does not play, I think Matt is probably a reasonable play. And then
So I'm having trouble with Komet as a reasonable play, because how much more
I know.
meat
That's
is
a
on the
fair point.
bone for this dude already running 75% of the routes, 8% targets per route run this year. His targets per route run last year sitting at a nice steady 11%, the same as Gerald Everett, and Mercedes Lewis was half as much targets per route run. I mean, God love Cole Kmet. I'm sure coaches love him and he does a good job. But this is a dude who just for I'm 21% targets per route run. I sort of forgot the 2023 version of him that was okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying like, oh, I can't believe you would play Cole Kmet, but I don't know if the Loveland stuff impacts him all that much because he already plays so much.
Right. It's a fair point. I think you might get more of the fun routes, but yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. I'm just looking for a second guy to play with Caleb. And it's not Zacchaeus. And I don't think you can do Burden yet. He's not bringing enough routes. So maybe you just single stack him. And then on the Raiders side, yeah, I want to find out. I confirmed he was still wearing the brace on Wednesday.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be out on Bowers until the brace comes off, but I'm monitoring it.
That makes one of us.
Okay.
You just feel so dumb for Brock Bowers to have a 16 target game at 5,800. And you were like, I don't know. I had to make him prove it to me first. Like,
I'll be happy if that happens. It's going to be okay.
I'm not going to go all in, but obviously Trey McBride is not on the slate. So in terms of like pure, like the elite tight ends, quote unquote, I mean, maybe Tyler Warren is kind of getting there, but Bowers Bowers, even at these reduced rates, Bowers projects like 2 points better than every other tight end in the pool. Like I said, I am going to do like one of these weeks. What's going to happen is that Pete Carroll's son, who is the offensive line coach for the Raiders, is going to figure something out. And whatever that, and I don't know anything about offensive line play. So like whatever, but they are going to figure something out. And Genty is going to have like just like an unbelievable game because all the ball knowers are noting the same thing I'm noting, which is it's not like Genty is this like Gus Edwards plotter. He's like doing insane work to get 3-yard runs. Like he is just killing it. I think he had like 8 missed tackles forced last week against the Commanders. Just like absolutely, I mean, he's just really good. And let me be the first person on every DFS program this week to say, well, if everyone's playing Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift. No, that is totally facetious touting because I will not play DeAndre Swift with my own money. But he is a
I
good
did it
leverage
last
play.
week. I did it not on purpose, but I did it as a late swap where like everybody in the world was playing Rome, and I had lineups that were semi live but not live enough, and I was like, all right, I'll do the Swift thing. Like I could see how this makes sense. It's a little different as a plan to play, but I will maintain that it's an interesting late swap option available to you if you don't have any pride.
Yeah. It's just and Geno too, by the way. Like I'm totally cool playing Geno, Jacoby Bowers.
Yeah.
Obviously it's so funny. DFS is such a funny thing in 2025. Trey Tucker literally scores 45 DraftKings points last week, and it's just like, yeah, all right, well, that's all good. Where it's one not interested. Yeah, I mean, certainly Trey Tucker is a play.
Yeah.
Not one I'm gonna make, but
no.
It's like if I put this in a category of like a Robert Meacham game or a Juwan Jennings from last season game, it's much more like a Robert Meacham game.
Yeah, I'm not into the Trey Tucker thing.
All right. A game with an inexplicable total of 48.5. The Baltimore Ravens are traveling to play at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 2.5-point home dogs. Mark Andrews showed I ain't dead yet last week for the Baltimore Ravens. Derrick Henry, 3 games, 3 fumbles. Zay Flowers had a down game. Tyquan Thornton is only 4,000 DraftKings dollars. Xavier Worthy did practice in full. I think my guess is they do probably try and play him this week. I don't, again, I am unconvinced about the sagacity of playing Xavier Worthy with this Noah Bryce.
Man.
Yeah.
Would you play him this week in DFS?
No. Oh my God. No. You'd have to hate money more than I do to play Xavier Worthy in daily fantasy sports contest this week. And again, much like the Bowers thing that you just said, I am totally happy to be wrong. And I think it's clear I am unable to be objective about this Xavier Worthy shoulder injury, but it just does not seem wise.
Yeah. This is like, I don't know. I feel the same way about every Chiefs game. It's like, this in theory should be fun. That's probably gonna fucking suck.
But it's gonna. Well, I told everyone the Eagles game was gonna suck, and they were like, "No, no, no, Super Bowl." And I was like, "No, dude, you guys don't understand. This game is going to suck."
I didn't watch much of the Sunday Nighter, and it seemed like I made their.
Oh, that was
choice.
worse. That was worse. That
Oh,
was really bad.
God.
Yeah, that was awful stuff.
Every time I checked, Harrison Butker was on my screen once again. I'd want it noted in our pick'em. That was the only one that hit.
It's true. It's true. You did.
The Butker over.
You need someone to do the kickers. Jacob is going to do it for
kicker
you.
chasing. Yeah, if I was to do this game, I guess I would do like a Lamar Zay stack. But that's really expensive. And the Chiefs defense is quite good, and their offense is lethargic and sad. So I'm probably just not going to play this game.
Yeah.
Let's say you.
So my thought is that to some degree, how bad the Kansas City Chiefs have been for fantasy is maybe a smidgen overstated, because when it's bad, it looks so bad. Mahomes, I mean, obviously he continues to just like lead the NFL in dropbacks every single game because they can't run. You also would never know it from the way people talk about it, but he's still good in EPA. If you adjust EPA per play, he's been better than Herbert. He's been better than Hurts. He's been better than Dak. Like, they do kind of find ways. And what is most interesting is that the last 2 years, Mahomes has been unstackable because the ceiling isn't that high and the weapons have been very expensive. Kelsey has remained expensive. Worthy was always like 63. Like, Worthy would have like,
right.
He got one touch for a fumble and he'd be 6,200. So Kelsey is 4,800. Tyquan Thornton is 4,000. Juju is 3,800. Now, I'm not saying you would play Juju, but like, Mahomes, is this the lowest combinatorial salary that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have ever been? I literally think it might be the lowest amount of salary. It's going to cost you.
Like, so bad.
He's terrible, but like, what option do they have?
So if Worthy doesn't play, I think I could get behind Mahomes Tyquan stack.
Yeah. Yes.
If Worthy does play, then I just don't want to play any of them because I think Worthy will still probably, like, if he plays, I think he's going to play a pretty big role. But I don't trust playing him at all with the shoulder stuff. But he's going to eat up routes from other people. I think he will not eat up as many of Hollywood's routes as I wish he would, because Hollywood is like horrible. And then it's like, then you have Tyquan and Juju probably in part-time roles, and then you can't play them. And so then I just feel like I can't play anybody. Except I guess you could play Kelsey, but I just don't want to play Travis Kelce. He looks so washed.
He looks terrible. So obviously they lose Worthy in game 1. These are the route stats and target stats for the Chiefs in the 2 games where they had time to game plan. 23% of the targets for Thornton, 20% of the targets for Kelsey, way less obviously for Hollywood and Juju. I'm thinking about it, and I won't do it in the spy, but I'm thinking about it. I don't know. They just cannot run. So that's the thing, is like, they literally cannot run
Isaiah
the football.
Pacheco literally was running toward his own end zone like he was Leon Lett.
You know what I would actually compare it to, and this is going to be the most, like, people who are sick of me talking about the Chiefs are going to really hate this. This is like playing like a Western Kentucky or Bowling Green State University quarterback against Ohio State in college football DFS, where it's like, yeah, they suck and they're going to get steamrolled, but this dude is going to have 62 dropbacks and he's really inexpensive. That is what playing Mahomes and Kelsey or Mahomes and Thornton is like this week, where you're like, dude, Mahomes might throw 52 times in this game because they are just not going to be able to run in any way, shape, or form.
Oh man.
Are you buying the Mandrews resurgence?
No, and not against Kansas City. He's never done a thing against Kansas City.
That's actually true, and it's a very weird one. It's like, why of all the people to have never done, like, I guess that is just
I just buy into it because I feel like these games between the Ravens and Chiefs always matter. Like, these are always games that the Chiefs, like both teams, I think really probably game plan a lot more meticulously for. And so I buy that it's not a coincidence. I buy that it's like something that the Chiefs do to take Mark Andrews away, that they prioritize with Spags. So I buy that matchup history.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is perfectly reasonable. All right. Are you ready to do our DraftKings lineup?
Yeah. I mean, let's just start it out nice and easily. Every single lineup. He's not going to be a gold star play because he's going to be like 26% owned, but I'm still playing him in every lineup. Puka Nacua.
Yeah. Can't make him a gold star play. I am happy to correspond with this game, and I'm gonna do it for you, and then I'm gonna let you choose the stack. I'm
Oh,
going to
baby.
select one Mr. Indiana Jones.
Look, I don't. The ownership to me seems so wonky that I don't know who is going to be my like 8% good player, gold star play yet. There's going to be someone, but I just don't have a feel for who it is yet. So I'll pick my ultra cheap gold star play that will be in like half my lineups this week. One of Davis's favorite players.
True.
He's going to stuff the spreadsheets in the lockers this week. AD Mitchell, come on down, buddy.
There's nothing I love more than a type 1 diabetic diva wide receiver who has accomplished approximately nothing in the National Football League, who like thinks it's beneath him to try hard in games. I mean, that right there is just like the definition of a player that I'm gonna love. So we saved a lot of salary there. I am going to take Jahmyr Gibbs and then leave it up to you to decide if we are going to try and fit Christian McCaffrey or not.
Well, I'll finish off our game stack. I'll take Tyler Warren in the tight end slot, and then we can get back to the rest of our lineup.
All right, we can do Tyler Warren. I'm going to insert my gold star play. Probably Jacob's least favorite player in the National Football League. I just think that DJ Moore is so obviously in a good spot this week, and I've been convinced of his talent the entire time. The only thing I wasn't sure of is, did Ben Johnson just want to immediately get this guy off his team? And I think the basis of the results of the first 3 weeks is no. I mean, maybe he does, but they're not calling plays like they hate this guy. He's still just and it's just so funny, Jacob, that you hate DJ Moore, because he was
I
like,
really do.
for like the longest time, he was like the slappy wide receiver.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I recall.
All right, DJ Moore, gold star play. What do you got for me?
All right. I will do James Cook.
Wow, Chess Liam on the program. James Cook.
Analytical community.
Yeah, I wish he would just say, these fucking people at Legendary Upside told you not to draft this guy. I think we should take. I think there are multiple cheap defenses that are in play, but I think the Titans are the best one against CJ Stroud. That leaves us with $6,100 at the flex position. Obviously, many different ways you could go here, but because this lineup does not have Christian McCaffrey, I think that we just eat the chalk with Amarian Hampton. Amarian Hampton obviously would have been my gold star play if he didn't carry this insane ownership projection. And if this ownership projection ends up being light, then yeah, I mean, just feel free to absolutely go nuts on Amarian Hampton. Like if his ownership projection is, like, for example, all the guys who are projected around him are closer to like 9%. And if that normalizes over the course of the week, then feel free to sub out DJ Moore for Amarian Hampton. But yeah, I really, and my sub gold star play would be Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, I'm very into the Ladd McConkey play. I have almost no feel for ownership right now on Thursday. I wish that I did. If he comes in really low, then I love Trevion Henderson. DJ Moore would be another guy that I'm very into if he comes in low. I'll be monitoring. I'll be monitoring the ownership.
Yeah. All right, everyone, make sure you're checking out Thinking About Thinking. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and we will see you guys